Welcome to another sermon from the Lewes Church of Christ. And now, here's Mark.
Somebody came in and saw some of the wedding pictures out there this morning and looked at my picture with Angel and said, "Mark, man, you look scared." Hello? Marriage. Marriage is, it's incredible. It's magnificent. It's beautiful. It may be one of God's best ideas. Yet it's so hard. It's so complicated. It's so complex. It's so challenging. Marriage. So today we're going to dive into a mini sermon series for today and 2 more weeks. It's just going to focus on this relationship of marriage. Now, to help us invest in, marriage and healthier marriages, just a little PR for this afternoon. We are hosting Marriage Rocks this afternoon at 4 o'clock. It's going to be right here at the Crossing. And what we're going to do is plan on, for a couple hours, do about 4 different sessions that's designed to encourage marital health for couples. If you're married or you are going to be married soon, I'd love to encourage you to be part of Marriage Rocks, 4 o'clock today. At the end of those sessions, we're going to give an opportunity for people to kind of match up, maybe go out on a double date tonight, and we got some door prizes and this and that. So it's going to be a really great thing. So I would love for you to consider Marriage Rocks. If you think you can come, there's a sign-up sheet on the back server. Just put your names on there, and we'll adequately prepare for who's coming at 4 o'clock. It's going to be a great thing as we invest in marriages. Here recently, Adam and I both heard a preacher preach on marriage, and we listened to a couple sermons from him, Pete Briscoe from a church in Texas, and it was just incredible. Adam and I both listened to it, and we're like, wow, did you hear this? But you know what? And we both concluded, like at the same time, we need a marriage series at the Crossing soon. So here we go. Today and for the next couple weeks, marriage. Now, some of you, here's the truth, some of you are here and you have a great marriage. You're feeling so good about your marriage, and you are strong together, and you're doing life together, and you are loving life because it's good. Others of you are married, and it is stressful. I mean, it's really hard. In fact, I saw somebody. In fact, it's so stressful, some of you may even be coming to the point when you're about ready to say, I'm done. And maybe one of the greatest things that you could possibly get in this next season of life is someone to come and breathe life into your marriage, because it's hard. Some of you, here's the truth, some of you aren't married, not even in the picture right now, and you're sitting there thinking, really? 3 weeks on marriage? Well, here's the truth. What we're going to do in the next couple of weeks through a sermon series that focuses on marriage, illustrates marriage, we're really going to be talking about some principles that are good for anyone, everyone, especially if you're involved in any kind of a relationship. But we're going to try to do our best to invest in marriages. James, in his letter to the church, asks this question. He asked, what causes fights among you? James chapter 4, verse 1, look at this. He asks the question, and then he answers it himself. What causes fights and quarrels among you? Don't they come from your desires that battle within you? Ooh. What causes fights among you? Don't they come from your own desires that battle within you? I want you to know today that all of us, there is an inbred attitude that all of us have, and left unchecked, it will destroy every marriage. Every one. It's an inbred attitude. It's an attitude that we all have. We were born with it, and left unchecked, it will destroy your marriage. Now, it's an attitude that's subtle, but it's deadly. And it's an attitude that is clearly seen in other people and, not necessarily easily recognized within myself. But it's an inbred attitude that we were born with. We all have it. And here's the attitude. In my circle, I'm in charge. In my circle, I'm in charge. In my circle, I'm in charge. Now, we all have it. We're all born with it. And I called it inbred attitude because this attitude goes all the way back to the beginning origins of humanity. In fact, it goes even beyond that. On one occasion in heaven, now the Bible tells us all these little details, in kind of a couple different places. But one day in heaven, God was thinking about being a little creative and using his imagination. And he thought to himself, I'm going to create an angel. And I'm going to create an angel, and this angel is going to be magnificent. This angel is going to be spectacular. And he created that angel, and he was spectacular. And he went ahead and created all kinds, a myriad of angels. A whole bunch of angels, and they were so beautiful and powerful and angelic. All these angels. Well, one day, when that one angel that was really, really spectacular, he was walking along, and he sees himself in the mirror. And that angel, wow, look at me. I am spectacular. I am so spectacular, I think I can run things here. That did not go well with him. In fact, he got kicked out of heaven. And he was cast down to the earth. His name is Lucifer, the devil, or Satan, right? And he thought he could run things, and that did not go well with him, and he got kicked out. And he got kicked to this planet, and guess what he does? He spends the rest of his time trying to convince you that if you'll just draw a circle around yourself, you can be in charge. And then God created Adam and Eve. He created male and female in his image. He created them, right? So shortly after the creation of Adam and Eve, husband and wife, Adam and Eve are involved in a little conversation together. And you know what Eve said to Adam? Hey, Adam, if we just eat of this forbidden fruit, we will have all the knowledge of good and evil we will ever need. In fact, if we just eat of this fruit, we can run things here. And if you know the Genesis account, they ate the forbidden fruit. And it did not go well with them. In fact, they were kicked out of the Garden of Eden. In fact, the Lord gave them a heads up. Hey, you disobeyed this rule, man. There's going to be consequences. And they disobeyed, and they felt the consequences, and they got kicked out of the garden. It did not go well with them. In fact, the Lord had a few words for the devil, and the Lord had a few words for Adam, and he had a few words for Eve. Listen to his words to Eve. This is interesting. Eve, your desire will be for your husband, yet he will have rule over you. Your desire will be for your husband, yet he will have rule over you. Now, what I find interesting is that word desire. You will have desire for your husband. It's the word desire to control. And what he was saying is, Eve, you're going to have a desire to control this relationship, and he's going to have a desire to control this relationship. And it's been like that ever since. Has it not? It's an inbred attitude. We all have it. We were born with it. Inside this circle, I'm in charge. In my circle, I'm in charge. And it doesn't take very long to recognize the development of that attitude, does it? Think about a little boy at Christmas. A little boy at Christmas, he gets a Christmas gift, and he opens it up, and it's this big red truck. So all afternoon, this little boy is inside his circle playing with his red truck, his big red truck. In walks another little boy. Spots the truck. I want that truck. I want to play with that truck. So he comes in and starts playing with the truck. What happens? No! That's my truck. You stepped into my circle. Get out of here. Because in my circle, I'm in charge. And that little boy carries that same attitude all the way through elementary school, all the way through middle school, all the way through high school, all the way through college, all the while just trying to expand his circle, right? Living and believing, in my circle, I'm in charge. Well, someday, the boy meets girl. Never thinking one thought about the fact that she grew up with the same attitude he did. And so boy meets girl, and they like each other, they're attracted to each other, and they find out that wanting to get married to each other. And on their wedding day, before God and all the witnesses, they're holding hands. He is looking deep into her eyes, and you know what he's thinking, right? I can't wait for the honeymoon. Seriously. That's all he's thinking. I can't wait for the honeymoon. Now, maybe with that is the thought, you, my damsel in distress, are now safe. I, your king, will take care of you. I, your king, will protect you. You will be my most loyal subject. Just do what I say. That's what he's thinking. Do you know what she's thinking? You already know, but I will verbalize it. You know what she's thinking, right? If you think for a moment that you're bringing that ugly dorm furniture into my house, you have another thing coming. And what we have on a wedding day nobody ever thinks about this, but what we have on the wedding day is the original clash of clans. Because he has a circle, and now with the husband and wife, she has a circle, and they're both thinking the same thing. In my circle, I'm in charge. You know what I've noticed? When you take this kingdom and you take this kingdom and you try to merge kingdoms, it's impossible. There's tension. There's big time tension. You can't merge two kingdoms with two kings. It's impossible. And when you try, there's tension. And anytime there's tension, there's conflict. And often when there's conflict, there's combat. Right? Whew. And they don't even realize, as they try to merge kingdoms, it's almost, it's impossible. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 12, a kingdom divided against itself will be ruined, and a house divided against itself cannot stand. Remember that? That's pretty straightforward. Yet we go on thinking, in my circle, I'm in charge. And if you both keep thinking that, your marriage will never flourish. Your marriage will always suffer. And it's going to come down to this. Do you want to build a personal kingdom, or do you want to have a great marriage? It will come down to that. Do you want to build a personal kingdom, or do you want a great marriage? Well, how do you build a great marriage? I've got to run to my default Bible verse. I hope you have a couple of default Bible verses in you. If I want to build a great marriage, I have got to keep running back to my default Bible verse. And my default Bible verse is Matthew 6:33. Listen to this. Seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things will be provided for you. Isn't that a good one? Christian, follower of Jesus, seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things will be provided unto you. That's a little different. That's like totally different, isn't it? From, in my circle, I'm in charge here, to seek first His kingdom. That is totally opposite. And really, in order to be a follower of Jesus, you have got to get rid of your circle and accept His circle. In fact, let me say it this way. If you want to build a great marriage, you're going to have to erase your circle and embrace His circle. Make sense? You're going to have to erase your circle and embrace His circle. Because there's a bigger circle. It's His circle. It's His kingdom. And He wants you to embrace His circle. He wants you to embrace Him as king. And He wants to invite you in. And He wants you advancing His kingdom. He wants you ditching yours. Okay. How do we erase our circle and embrace His circle? I'm glad you asked, and I have a homework assignment for you. I have a homework assignment for you. In fact, in the next couple weeks, today and the next couple weeks, you're going to understand that sermon time is really about a 20-minute setup for your homework assignment. Don't look at me like that. You know that all of us need to be working on our own hearts, right? We need to be working on our faith. We need to be working on our lives. Yeah, you need a homework assignment. Here's your homework assignment. Erase your circle and embrace His. How do you do that? 4 steps. Step number 1, this week, I just want you sitting down with the Lord for some personal time. Just you and the Lord. And I want you sitting down with the Lord, and in your conversation with the Lord, maybe grab your Bible and just sit down with Him all alone. And I just want you telling Him, confessing to Him, Lord, I erase my circle. And I'm embracing yours. And I want you confessing things like, Lord, I don't want to be the Lord and leader of my own life. Every time I lead my own life, I lead myself into a mess. I lead myself into so much hurt. And it just feels, I lead myself into my own circle. And I just see, I'm just spinning round and round, right? Lord, I want to erase my circle. I want to embrace your circle. I surrender. You're the Lord of my life. That's step 1. After you've surrendered again, I want you to ask the Lord to reveal to you those areas in life you're trying to control. You do realize control is an illusion. You don't control a thing. It's an illusion. And I want you to ask the Lord, what are those areas in my life that I'm trying to control? In fact, I want you to be very specific. What are the areas in my marriage, Lord, that I'm trying to control? And here's what he's going to tell you. Look behind the conflict. Look behind the tension. Look behind the conflict. Because he knows behind every conflict is a king or queen or both who have dug in their heels trying to stay in their circle and trying to remain in control. So I just want you to ask him, what are the areas in my marriage I'm trying to control? And he's going to tell you to look behind the conflict. What are you fighting about? Is it money? Sex? How you spend your time? The future? Children? What is it? What are you fighting about? Because behind every conflict is a king or queen trying to maintain their control. It's all about conversation, really. Your conversation with the Lord, Lord, I surrender. Erase my circle, I'll embrace yours. A conversation with the Lord, Lord, reveal to me. What are the areas I'm trying to control? Here's step 3. Here's where it gets really good. After you've done step 1 and 2, I want you to sit down with your spouse this week. And I want you to confess to them the circles you've erased. Now, I can see what you're thinking. Some of you are thinking, well, what if I erase my circles and my spouse doesn't erase his? Wah! Somebody call the ambulance, all right? Listen, your spouse may take longer than you do since you're way more mature, But stop thinking about your spouse for a moment. That's controlling. The question is, are you willing to erase your circle and embrace his? And so I want you to tell your spouse about the circles you've erased. I can see what you're thinking again. I can't do that, Mark. Why not? Go ahead and say it. Because if I tell them about the circles I erased, then I lost control. Exactly. Because we're trying to get away from the illusion that you're in control. You're not in control. And so confess the circles that you've erased. And then I want you to ask your spouse this question. What did I miss? What did I miss? Oh, they'll tell you. And you're in for some great conversation this week. You really are. And so it's all about conversation. Good conversation is the key to any relationship. First, the conversation with the Lord. Lord, you're in charge here. Embrace my circle. I'm embracing yours. Lord, reveal to me what are the areas I'm trying to control, especially in my marriage. What am I trying to control here? And then sit down with your spouse and tell them your circles you erased. And then ask, hey, what did I miss? And then when you've recovered from that, I want you to do one more thing, the 4th step. I want you, with your spouse, to brainstorm what it would look like to embrace his circle together. What would it look like if the two of you did something for the kingdom together? What would it look like if the two of you served together? What would it look like if the two of you were to advance the kingdom of Jesus together? You're going to have some great conversation. And that's the key to any relationship. I want to close the sermon today with a video clip. This video is from Robertson McQuilkin. He was a president of a major university, and this clip comes out of his resignation speech. I love this video clip. It is a perfect illustration of someone erasing his circle and embracing his. You're going to like this. Watch this.
I haven't in my life experienced easy decision-making on major decisions, but one of the simplest and clearest decisions I've had to make is this one, because circumstances dictated it. Muriel, now, in the last couple of months, seems to be almost happy when with me, and almost never happy when not with me. In fact, she seems to feel trapped, becomes very fearful, sometimes almost terror. And when she can't get to me, there can be anger. She's in distress. But when I'm with her, she's happy and contented. And so I must be with her at all times. And you see, it's not only that I promised in sickness and in health, till death do us part. And I'm a man of my word. But as I have said, I don't know with this group, but I've said publicly, it's the only fair thing. She sacrificed for me for 4 years to make my life possible. So, if I cared for her for 40 years, I'd still be in debt. However, there's much more. It's not that I have to, it's that I get to. I love her very dearly, and you can tell it's not easy to talk about. She's a delight. It's a great honor to care for such a wonderful person.
Phew. That's beautiful. That's kingdom living. It's a great example of erasing his own circle to embrace his circle. And friends, if you want to thrive in your marriage, you have got to erase your circle and embrace his. Lord Jesus, I thank you today. For the words that you've challenged us with. To recognize that all of us are born with this attitude that if left alone, it will destroy us. And Lord, we know that we often default to the fact that in my circle, I'm in charge. And I pray that you would empower all of us to erase our circles and embrace yours. May we, Lord, be faithful at seeking first your kingdom and your righteousness, trusting that you'll provide everything we need for life. Lord, fill this church with people who have embraced your circle.
This has been a presentation of the Lewes Church of Christ. We are located at 15183 Coastal Highway, Milton, Delaware, 3 miles north of Lewes on Highway 1. Our service times are 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. every Sunday morning.